A Russian soldier detected by reconnaissance drones of Ukraine's Sharp Karty unit hides inside a trash container. Moments later, a Ukrainian FPV drone is dispatched. Before the Russian soldier can even react, he is directly targeted by the drone. The strike leaves nothing behind but wreckage. Another clear display of drones dominating close combat scenarios. Near the village of Katarinka in the Donetsk region, a Russian soldier chose to surrender after a precision strike nearby. He raised his hands and showed no resistance, while the Ukrainian drone hovered overhead, confirming the surrender. A group of Russian soldiers was detected among the ruins in the Andreyka area by Ukraine's 414th Unmanned Strike Aviation Brigade. For a time, their movements were closely monitored by Ukrainian drones, tracking every step and waiting for the right moment. The soldiers were seen carrying fuel in bottles. The FPV drone pilot exercised patience, waiting for the ideal position. As the Russian soldiers gathered and moved toward a ruined building, they eventually noticed the drone observing them but chose a poor hiding spot. When the FPV drone advanced, it positioned itself directly in front of the Russian soldiers. Exposed and completely out in the open, the group was left vulnerable. In the Donetsk area, a Russian soldier hiding inside a tunnel in an abandoned field was detected by Ukrainian reconnaissance drones. As the FPV drone approached, the soldier realized he had been spotted. In a panic, he tried to escape through the tunnel, but the Ukrainian FPV operator quickly maneuvered to the opposite exit to block his way. Moments later, the Russian soldier emerged, now fully exposed in the open. The Ukrainian FPV drone immediately struck, neutralizing him. This operation once again demonstrated how flexible and quick-reacting Ukraine's drone units have become on the battlefield. In the Kharkiv region, 2 Russian soldiers on a motorcycle were engaged by FPV drones operated by Ukrainian M2 TSO units. The drones successfully struck the vehicle, demonstrating the speed and precision of modern drone operations. Each engagement highlights the growing impact of unmanned systems on the front line. A Russian soldier carrying supplies was observed by a Ukrainian FPV drone. As the drone approached, the soldier realized he had limited options. Unarmed and trying to evade, he circled his cart in an attempt to move to safety. The drone pilot maintained pressure from above, forcing the soldier to act defensively. In a last effort, the soldier attempted to deter the drone by throwing objects. Ultimately, the drone closed the distance and executed a precise strike. The engagement demonstrates the persistence and precision of FPV drone operations, highlighting the tactical pressure drones can impose on exposed forces. Ukrainian FPV drones detected a Russian Mi-8 helicopter flying at low altitude in the Andreyka area. Caught in open airspace with no protection, the helicopter quickly became a target. One FPV drone closed in at high speed and struck the aircraft. Moments later, the Mi-8 went down in an empty field, erupting in a powerful explosion. A Russian BM-21 Grad multiple rocket launcher was detected near the Toretsk area. A Ukrainian FPV drone carried out a precise strike, completely disabling the launcher. The Ukrainian Signum unit pursued Russian tanks. A fast-moving T-72 was struck by an FPV drone. The tank realized the drone was right on its tail and tried to accelerate, but escaping the attack proved impossible. It didn't stop there. In the Lyman region, Russian tanks attempting to conceal themselves from drone strikes also failed to evade. Russian forces continue making the same mistakes on the front lines, leaving critical military vehicles exposed and turning them into easy targets for drones. The Ukrainian Signum unit actively engaged Russian reconnaissance drones in the air. Using FPV drones, they tracked and neutralized multiple enemy UAVs, denying Russian forces valuable intelligence and maintaining aerial dominance over the battlefield. Around 10 Russian soldiers were detected taking up positions inside an abandoned building. Once their location was confirmed, Ukrainian artillery targeted the site. The strike completely destroyed the house, leaving no chance of escape for the Russian troops inside. Ukrainian Falcon Squad of the UAS Battalion, 57th Motorized Rifle Brigade, successfully disabled Russian equipment in the Vovchansk direction using advanced fiber optic FPV drones. Operators bypassed Russian jamming systems and carried out precise strikes on their targets. As the battle neared its end, Ukrainian FPV and loitering drones dominated the battlefield. Russian forces, scattered and exposed across the front, found themselves under relentless surveillance and pressure. Each movement was tracked, each maneuver observed, leaving little room for retreat or cover. From open fields to partially destroyed buildings, no position remained secure. Russian soldiers attempted to take cover, regroup, or salvage vehicles and equipment, but the precision and speed of Ukrainian drones rendered these efforts ineffective. Loitering munitions struck fortified positions, dismantling bunkers and supply points, while FPV drones continuously pursued troops on the move, ensuring no escape. Logistics routes became hazardous choke points, transport vehicles, ammunition convoys, and fuel depots were systematically neutralized, cutting off vital support lines. In the Starobilsk region, a Russian soldier was detected by a Ukrainian 414 Magwars Birds FPV drone. The lone soldier was attempting to move past Ukrainian defensive positions, but the FPV drones were deployed before he could advance further. He noticed the approaching drone, but exhausted and worn out, he made no attempt to flee. The FPV drone swiftly struck the soldier. The Ukrainian 53rd Motorized Brigade launched an operation against Russian trenches in the Novodetsk-Luhansk region. Advancing cautiously with air support, Ukrainian troops made first contact with Russian soldiers. After a brief skirmish, the Russian troops signaled their intent to surrender. At first, the Ukrainian soldiers appeared uncertain how to proceed, but after a careful approach, they accepted the surrender of the Russian forces. A Ukrainian infantryman from the 25th Separate Airborne Brigade deployed a TM-62 mine into a basement while under heavy fire. The explosion destroyed the shelter inside, neutralizing the fortified position, likely near Lysivka village in the Donetsk region. This operation demonstrates the precision and effectiveness of Ukrainian forces in targeting entrenched positions even under intense combat conditions. Ukrainian fiber optic FPV drones pursued a Russian soldier in the Lyman direction. Attempting to flee by vehicle, he quickly realized he could not outrun the drone. He stopped the vehicle and tried to escape into the forest. However, the FPV drone closed the distance and successfully struck before he could hide. After the Russian infantry was neutralized by the FPV drone, a second strike was carried out to ensure the vehicle was permanently disabled. Operators from the Incognito group identified yet another target, a Russian infantryman heading toward a tree line on the eastern front. An FPV drone armed with explosives was launched immediately. As it approached the area, the drone suddenly dropped into a steep dive, detonating on impact. Debris scattered in all directions. Reconnaissance footage confirmed the target was no longer active. Another strike, another soldier lost, showing how speed and surprise make FPV drones one of the most effective and feared weapons in modern combat. A Ukrainian soldier deployed an anti-tank mine against Russian forces positioned in a pillbox near Kostiantynivka in the Donetsk region. The operation was documented by the 3rd Line Battalion of the 111th Luhansk Territorial Defense Brigade. Yesterday, a train carrying fuel and lubricants in Zankoy, Crimea, was struck, resulting in its destruction and the disruption of supply lines. This time, another Russian soldier attempted to shoot down the drone but was unsuccessful. A Russian soldier tried to hide behind a tree to escape an FPV drone but failed. In the Kherson direction, Ukrainian border guards showcased a precise strike by an FPV kamikaze drone targeting a Russian vehicle carrying the command staff of a combat brigade deployed in this frontline sector. The drone footage captures 4 Russian servicemen boarding a civilian car and heading toward their command post. According to intelligence, the post was disguised as a residential house and located in one of the populated areas of Kherson Oblast. Such camouflage techniques are commonly used by the enemy to evade detection. Just before the strike, the vehicle stops near a building, where the command staff was reportedly awaiting the arrival of another soldier before continuing their journey. At this moment, the Ukrainian FPV drone accurately targets the vehicle. The strike is direct. Almost instantly, the car bursts into flames, engulfing it completely. The footage clearly shows how the blaze destroys the vehicle and its contents within seconds. Thanks to modern technology, Ukrainian forces are able to not only identify enemy positions but also track the movements of key officers, enabling pinpoint strikes on critical points in the command structure. This time, Russian soldiers came under the surveillance of Ukrainian drones. While advancing in a vehicle, they were close to being targeted in a drone ambush. However, one of the Russian soldiers successfully intercepted the drone, narrowly preventing the attack. Ukrainian warplanes launched a powerful strike on Russian military facilities in the Kursk region using GBU-62 guided munitions. According to Ukrainian military intelligence, these buildings were identified as unmanned aerial vehicle (UAV) control centers. After detecting enemy personnel entering the buildings, the Ukrainian Air Force initiated the strike. The guided bombs inflicted significant damage on the targeted structures within a short period of time. A Russian BMP-2 armored vehicle transporting troops to the front line became a target of FPV drones. However, it was not completely destroyed yet as Russian soldiers remained inside, refusing to exit. A kamikaze drone carrying a large explosive was sent for a second attack. It targeted the armored vehicle and completely destroyed it. The strike demonstrated the deadly efficiency of coordinated drone assaults. It left no chance for survival, emphasizing the vulnerability of armored units to aerial attacks. Ukrainian border guards of the UAS Regiment Phoenix carried out a series of precise drone strikes in the Donetsk region. Using FPV drones, they targeted and disabled Russian vehicles, tanks, and other military equipment. The operation demonstrated how effective Ukrainian drone units have become, asserting dominance from above. With each strike, Russian positions were weakened, their armor and mobility reduced. This was not just a single action, but a coordinated effort across multiple points, leaving Russian troops increasingly exposed and vulnerable. The Phoenix Regiment once again showed that drones remain one of the most decisive tools on the front. In addition to targeting vehicles and positions, the regiment systematically disrupted Russian supply lines and logistics points. Fuel depots, ammunition stores, and transport convoys were struck with precision, severely impacting operational capabilities. FPV drones enabled Ukrainian forces to track movements in real time, adjust strikes dynamically, and ensure minimal opportunity for Russian units to regroup. Ukrainian assaults in the Kursk region continued throughout the week. Russian soldiers stranded on the road due to fuel shortages were targeted by FPV drones. Their vehicle was completely destroyed, forcing the soldiers to scatter in different directions. The strikes in Kursk did not stop there, as Russian motorized troops also became exposed targets for FPV drones. In the Donetsk region near Vuhledar, Ukrainian forces systematically identified and targeted Russian artillery positions using FPV and loitering drones. Each emplacement was tracked and struck with precision, leaving no secure zone for Russian units. The operation, spanning over a minute, demonstrates the critical impact of drone warfare on the battlefield. Russian units, once confident in their fortified positions, were forced to abandon cover and lost their ability to control the front lines. Every strike disrupted supply routes, disabled artillery, and further weakened their operational capacity, highlighting the growing dominance of Ukrainian drone tactics in contested areas. A Russian soldier is advancing into a wooded area, closely monitored by reconnaissance drones. An FPV drone silently trails the soldier from above. Shortly after, the infantryman attempts to use dense vegetation for concealment. However, the FPV drone swiftly initiates a focused strike on the target. A powerful explosion follows, effectively neutralizing the soldier.